Honeybuns, and welcome to part 2 on how to make a bandana corset.
Honeybuntv.
You making me wanna spend this money, gorgeous, all on you, girl.
So just like in part 1 with our bandana skirt, I'm going to list everything in the description box below so you can see it visually. But for right now, you are going to need some bandanas, of course, a pattern, and some boning, and of course scissors and measuring tape. So as you can see here, I am just picking out my colors that I want for my corset and laying them out. And for the corset, just like any other pattern that you are doing a shirt and or pants for, you are going to need 2 pieces, and you're going to see what I mean by that in just a couple of seconds. But like I said, I'm just picking out my colors and mixing them out to see how they mesh and coordinate with each other. As you can see here now, I'm going to place my pattern on top, and for the middle portion, it is going to be cut in 2 pieces. Now typically when you cut a pattern, depending on what it is, or like a dress, a skirt, even a shirt, you cut on fold. Okay, and you have your front and your back, that's 2 pieces. Now for this middle portion, you can cut this on fold, and you'll just have to face it the opposite way, but I'm just cutting it 1 by 1, which is totally fine. And as you can see here, I'm going to place it on top of the baby blue, but I'm going to face it on the good side. So your good side should be also facing each other as well. And that's even sometimes depending on what you're sewing, your good side should be facing each other for that seam. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut the side panels out, and you do not necessarily need the typical 2 pieces for this in the way that I'm describing, but you will need an interior portion. So the interior is the inside, so essentially you will need to cut another piece, but in the same direction, not the opposite like how I just did the middle portion. And I'm just going to finish up the other side panel and place it together so you guys can see what that looks like. And as here, I am just adding the bottom on to make the waist longer. So I'm just going to place that on the side, and now we are going to move on to the brush portion. Now I made this pattern and I labeled them A and B, and with A and B, of course, in total you should have 4 pieces. Okay, you should have 4 pieces. So that means we're going to cut 2A, we're going to cut 2B, AB, AB, right? And then the inside, you will still need an interior portion. So in reality, you should be cutting out 8 pieces, but we're just going to stick with cutting out 4 pieces. 2 for A, like I said, and 2 for B. Now I'm going to place everything together and get ready to sew it, but I want you guys to really see this, because sometimes even when you are placing your pieces together, you may not think they look like the flyest, but then when you sew it together, it be looking the flyest. So don't get discouraged if you don't like your colors. For the back portion, when it comes to the corset, it's not going to be like the traditional corset where you have to tie up, but I'm just going to add some tying strings. And what I mean by tying strings is literally cutting 17 inches long, about 3 inches wide, which you'll see more here later on, to tie the back versus to add panels on and a zipper and grommets and all that. This is very beginner friendly. Now I'm going to sew it together, and as how I cut it, I am going to face right sides of each other and sew it down. So place it over and sew it down, and take your time. If you are to make a mistake or you sewed the wrong side, that's okay. Bust them seams and do it again. This is how it should look. Now we are going to add the side panels, and we are just going to do literally the same thing that I said, making good sides face each other and sewing them right on down. Now this is how it is supposed to look. I'm going to go ahead and put my interfacing in there. I also did forget to say that in the beginning of the video. I'm so sorry, honey buns, but you are going to want to place your interfacing in there, as well as I went ahead and put on the bottom. So your interfacing is going to kind of make it a little bit harder and more stable, which you will see later on. So in this portion, this is what I mean by cutting 17 inches wide, 17 inches long. Hold on. 17 inches long and 2 inches wide as well. And I did make a mistake, and I did cut the side of my corset a little bit smaller, so I'm also adding on a couple extra inches, which it doesn't even matter because it looks like it goes with it with the colors. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place the I'm tongue-tied, bra cups on, okay? And like I said, A and B. You're sewing A and B, so you're going to go around that curve. And now I'm just showing you a portion of how I do the interfacing for the bra cup. I don't know where this footage went. It must didn't want to get up on in the video. But if y'all want an extra video on how to do this, I do not mind. But this is how it should come out. It's really simple. You can iron it down for certain interfacings and just take a cloth, iron it down, and cut around. So like I said, it will make it kind of hard, and y'all can see that in this portion it doesn't look as flimsy. So what you're going to do is you are going to meet in the middle, wherever the middle of your bra cup is. In the middle of the underbridge of the bra cup, you are going to meet, and you are going to pin around, as you can see me here doing. And take your time, because this can get kind of tricky. And after you pin it all around, what you are going to do is sew the inside. Just around, just like that, just how I showed y'all. And this is how it should come out. Now that you have your corset, you are going to work with inserting your boning. So when you insert your boning, I'm going to show you here, this is about 1/2 inch. You want to make sure that the lines that you make are literally that and or bigger than that, just in case. So what I'm doing with my finger here is guiding you to how to make your lines straight down, straight down, straight down, okay? And you are going to make a casing. That's how you make a casing in general. Even if you want to make like roots or something, you can put that boning in. And you're just going to put it all the way up in there. You don't want to put it to... You don't want to make your boning long into the end. You want to cut a little bit off so you can have some room to make the hemming bottom. And if you don't know what hemming is, I have a couple videos. We do hemming all the time, honey. You can go back and refer if that helps. Now, as we did with the skirt in part 1, we took our casing, our bias tape that we little made, okay, and we placed it on the line and did around. So just like how we made the waistband, you are going to do this as well. Now we're going to get into the portion of making the strips for the back. So like I said, keep repeating, 17 inches long, 2 inches wide. But honestly, you can do whatever works for you. You can even do 4 inches. Shoot, maybe you could even do 10, but that may be a little bit too big. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to sew down and close the bottom. I'm going to leave one side open and I'm going to close one side. So I'm getting ready to show you what I mean by that. You see how one side is closed and the other side is open? That's due to the fact that I want to flip it inside out, so I'm going to use a safety pin, or you can get an inside puller, if that makes sense, and pull your fabric out. But listen, don't get the cheap safety pins, because this is exactly what's going to happen. That thing got stuck and I had to use my finger. So after that, you are literally going to place the opening side on top of the edge, okay? And you're gonna sew it all the way down. You're gonna do this. I did about 6, so in total 12, 6 on one side, 6 on the other side, and then I tied it. And this is how it should come out. So Honey Buns on HoneyBuntv next week. Mwah.